Hello students, today we are going to start a new chapter. That chapter is Biomolecule. So this Biomolecule chapter is given in your first year biology book. This chapter is very much important from your NEET point of view also, because this same chapter is given in your chemistry second year. As well as in the second year biology book itself, we have another chapter. That chapter is molecular basis of inheritance. So in the molecular basis of inheritance, we have one part that is nucleic acid, where you have to study the nucleic acid, the DNA and the RNA structure. So you cannot leave this chapter, it's very much important. Weightage wise, if it is in your NEET, we can have 3 to 4 questions. So it will bear 4 marks. Okay, so 16 marks is very much important. Even 1 mark is going to count, so you cannot at all leave this chapter. So yes, we have to study, and this is very easy chapter. Once you understand this chapter, it's going to be very much easy to remember. Okay, so there are some tricks. Okay, so those tricks I'm going to tell you. You don't have to see each and every part of the whole NCERT book, but yes, some part will be important. You have to know where you have to give more emphasis on. Okay, so yeah, let us start this chapter, Biomolecule. So in the Biomolecule chapter, first of all, what we need to know, what is biomolecule, right? So what is biomolecule actually? It is the different elements. Okay, so these elements are present in the living system. Okay, it is called as biomolecule. Okay, now what are the different type of elements are found in the living body? We can have carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphate, sulfur, calcium, etc. Okay, so these elements are found in the earth crust also, isn't that? So the same type of elements, okay, suppose these are the elements, these are found in the earth crust. Okay, this is found in the earth crust, as well as it is found in the living body. Okay, so same type of elements are found in the earth crust as well as the living body. What's the reason? Actually, the living body, suppose we get the energy from where? We get the energy from the earth crust itself. How we can get the energy from the earth crust? That we have to depend on the plants, okay, or the non other components, other, suppose we consume uh, the other some type of, suppose animals also. Okay, so we are depend on the animals as well as the plants. Animals get its food, nutrients from the plants. Plants gets its nutrients from the earth crust itself, isn't that? So that's why the similar type of elements, they are found in the earth crust also, living body also. Okay, but what's the difference between this living body and the earth crust? Earth crust, the substances, the elements, they are not showing the properties of a living organism. Then why does the same type of element show in the living body as a living state, right? So the thing is that these elements, okay, these elements form some compounds, okay, and those compounds, these compounds, they are at a specific point, specific amount, specific ratio. Okay, so the amount or the ratio, okay, this makes the same element as the living substances in the living body. Okay, suppose in the earth crust we have carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, right? Same type of, same components, seeing these three elements, carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, is also found in the living body, but this carbon, hydrogen and oxygen makes carbohydrate. Okay, and most important is your example is sugar. Suppose one sugar, suppose you take this example of glucose. So this glucose contain the carbon, hydrogen and oxygen in the ratio of suppose C6H12O6. This is the formula of glucose molecule, right? So In this sugar molecule, carbon, hydrogen and oxygen is found in the ratio of 1 is to 2 is to 1, right? So this amount, okay, the amount or ratio, this amount or ratio is going to make huge difference, okay? Same elements are found in the earth crust as well as living body, but their amounts and the compounds they're forming, compound is here is carbohydrate, is going to be very much important, okay? The ratio is very much important. In the living body, the same elements are found in some components, okay? So component wise, if you want to see the component wise what we have in our living body, okay, so if you see what other things are found in the living body, that we can divide the whole biomolecules, all the biomolecules in our body in these parts. First of all, we have carbohydrate, okay, then we have the protein, okay, then we have the lipids, then the next one, this is the nucleic acid, okay. So these components, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphate, sulfur, calcium, are all found in these biomolecules, that is carbohydrate, protein, lipid and nucleic acid, right? Now these components, these biomolecules are going to be the complex structure. So these are actually the polymers, okay? Remember, these are the polymers, carbohydrate, protein, lipid and nucleic acid, and its monomers, okay? What are their monomers? Monomers means those units, okay? The carbohydrates has its monomer is the monosaccharide, okay? Second one, if it is the protein, protein have its monomer, that is amino acid, okay? The lipid is itself is found as a unit, but this lipid don't have any type of monomers. If you break lipid, okay, if you emulsify lipid, okay, then you can get the lipid you emulsify, then after that you will get the components, that is fatty acid and glycerol. Okay, next one, the nucleic acid, the monomer, if you see in the nucleic acid, then you have the nucleotides, okay? Nucleotides can be further broken down, so you can get inside the nucleotides, we have pentose sugar, okay, one kind of monosaccharide, the pentose sugar. Then after that we have the phosphate and some nitrogenous bases, okay. So these are the monomers, they undergo different reactions, they have the chemical bonds. Like if you see the monosaccharides, in the monosaccharide you have glycosidic bond, okay, that form the carbohydrate. If you see amino acid, then we can have the peptide bond, and peptide bond make the protein. Fatty acid and glycerol, they form the ester bonds and form the lipids, and nucleic acid will have the glycosidic and ester bonds that form the different nucleic acid like DNAs and RNAs. So yes, these are the polymers and monomers. So in this chapter, how we are going to study the whole chapter, what is the content of the chapter? In the content, what we are going to study one by one, the carbohydrates we will study. Second one, we will study protein. Third, we will study lipid. Fourth, we will study nucleic acid. But whenever we will study the carbohydrate polymer, we will also study the monomer, that is monosaccharide, disaccharide, oligosaccharide, then the polysaccharide, their structures, then what are the different forms it is going to produce. Then after that, the fifth, we have different enzymes too. Okay, so these enzymes, they are actually a separate group. Okay, they are proteinaceous compounds itself, but these enzymes in our living body perform very much important functions. So we are going to study all of those things. So this, in this 5 parts, we are going to divide the whole chapter. So that's, we are going to have the chapter, the contents. Okay, we'll study first of all carbohydrate, then protein, then lipid, nucleic acid, and then the enzymes. But before that, okay, in this introduction chapter, we need to know that what are the things present in our living tissues. Okay, so in this living tissue, how many compounds are found? Everything we are going to start in this video. So first of all, we are going to have the test. In our living tissue, how can we understand that we have carbohydrate? How can we understand that we have the proteins? And a monosaccharide, suppose glucose, form the carbohydrate, isn't that? So everything we are going to have a test. And what is this test actually? Test to understand the organic compounds. Okay, so this organic compound to be checked, okay, in a test, and that test is called as acid test. Okay, so acid test is actually a test where in a living tissue we can able to get the different type of organic compounds that are the biomolecules. So this acid we are going to use here is trichloroacetic acid. Okay, so we are going to use the acid trichloroacetic acid, and we are going to find the different type of biomolecules found in the living tissue. So what we are going to do first, we can take the animal tissue. It can be either the piece of liver or just a leaf. Okay, any of the compound. First of all, what you are going to do, you have to take a piece of tissue. Then this piece of tissue you have to crush. How can you crush it? With the help of a mortar. Okay, so in the mortar and the pestle. Okay, so with the help of a mortar, what you are going to do, take this piece of tissue. Suppose we have taken a piece of a part, just a very small part of liver. Okay, liver is around 1.5 kg weight. We don't require that much. We can take only a part. Then after that, that part of the liver, we have to crush it into a fine paste. Okay, so after that, what we are going to do actually, whenever you crush that tissue, then the organization it forms, it will be broken, and after that you crush it. Later on, what it is going to do, it's going to form a slurry. Okay, so whenever you crush it in a mortar and pestle, you are going to get a slurry, right? Then after that, what you are going to do in this slurry, okay, in the slurry, what you are going to add? We are going to add the trichloroacetic acid. So whenever you use the trichloroacetic acid, it's going to react. Okay, and some biomolecules are going to dissolve in it, some biomolecules are not going to be dissolved in it, right? So what happens that the organic compounds which are having the polysaccharide form, they are not going to be dissolved in the trichloroacetic acid, and which are the monomeric forms. Like in the carbohydrate I said the monomers, then in the protein I said about the proteins have the monomer amino acids. So the monomers are going to be dissolved in the trichloroacetic acid, but the polymers, they are heavy complex molecules, they are not going to be dissolved. Okay, so whenever you use the trichloroacetic acid, some compounds will be, some biomolecules are going to be dissolved, some of them will not going to dissolve, right? Then after that, what you are going to do, you will take one filter paper. Okay, then after that you have to separate it out. Okay, so you are going to take, you can take a filter paper or just a muslin cloth also. You just pour this thing into this tube. Okay, then drop by drop some of the, so whenever we do this, we filter this compound, this slurry, then some of the components will get filtered, some of the compounds will not get filtered, which are having more molecular weight. So which are retained in this, they are not get dissolved in the acid, do not get filtered, that will contain the higher molecular weight, the polymers. They're called as biomacromolecules, which have the molecular weight more than 800 Dalton. that will be under the acid insoluble pool because it is not get dissolved in the acid, right? Then which get actually filtered of the slurry after the acid addition of the trichloroacetic acid, some of the components of low molecular weight get dissolved. This filtrate will have the acid soluble pool because it can dissolve in the acid, and that's why it get filtered. That will contain the biomicromolecule which have the molecular weight less than 800 Dalton. So we have two components here now. One is biomacromolecule and another is biomicromolecule. So biomacromolecule have the molecular weight more than 800 Dalton, and biomicromolecules have the molecular weight less than 800 Dalton. Biomacromolecule are the acid insoluble pool, and biomicromolecules they are found in the acid soluble pool. Okay, remember this is the acid insoluble pool. This acid soluble pool will will write acid soluble pool, acid insoluble pool. So biomacromolecules, what are the biomacromolecules we find in this retained thing? What we can get the polysaccharides, okay, like we can get starch, we can get glycogen that will not get filtered. Then after that we will get the proteins, yes, because the proteins had a polysaccharide. Then we can have the nucleic acids. The nucleic acids will be DNA and RNA, okay. So these things will be found in the biomacromolecule acid insoluble pool. Biomicromolecules which are found in the acid soluble pool, which get dissolved in the acid and get filtered, that will have less than 800 Dalton. So it will contain all the monomers, okay. So in the polysaccharide the monomers are monosaccharides, okay. What are the monosaccharides? Glucose, fructose, galactose. Then from the protein we will have the uh, amino acids, okay. Then after that, if you see the units of DNA and RNA, the monomers will be the different sugars, okay, pentose sugar, nitrogenous bases, okay. These things will be there in the acid soluble pool. But here we have a very interesting thing, that we have one component, that is lipid, okay. So this lipid actually is a acid insoluble compound, okay. So it is found in the acid insoluble pool here, okay. But this lipid compound is not get soluble in the trichloroacetic acid. It do not get dissolved in the trichloroacetic acid. But this acid insoluble pool should have the molecular weight more than 800 Dalton. So that's why it is called as biomacromolecule. But lipid, it is actually a acid insoluble pool. It's found in the retainment here, and this is going to have the molecular weight less than 800 Dalton. So remember, though lipid is found in the acid insoluble pool, it is not a biomacromolecule, it's a biomicromolecule which have the molecular weight less than 800 Dalton. It do not get dissolved in the acid, so that's why it is found in the acid insoluble pool. So what we have seen, in the test we have checked the organic compounds, the biomicromolecules and biomacromolecules. So this question, lipid, where it is found, what is its molecular weight, it's a biomicromolecule or macromolecules found in acid soluble pool or acid insoluble pool, that can come. So this is very important test. This can come in your exam, very much important. So you have to remember what are the components, they are AIP, what are the components, they are ASP, acid soluble pool and acid insoluble pool. So that is the first test, right? The second test we are going to study here is to check what are the inorganic components found, okay. So there are a number of inorganic components also found, okay. So what are they? So we have another test called as test. Okay, so in this as test, what we are going to see, what are the inorganic compounds found in the living tissue. Suppose you have taken a living tissue, suppose it can be animal or the plant tissue, then you have to just sun dry it. Okay, so under the sun, what will happen, the content, okay, water component will get evaporated. So whenever you sun dry it, what will happen to this piece of tissue, from the piece of tissue, the we are going to have the different type of elements. These elements are this, okay. Hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, that will be evaporated as carbon and carbon dioxide and water. Remaining nitrogen, sulfur, sodium, calcium, magnesium, silicon, they are found. So we have one chart. Okay. So I have drawn the chart properly. See what the chart indicates. See here in this comparison of elements, we have to compare in the earth crust as a and the human body. So what you have to remember, not the elements found in the earth crust. So that percentage, actually everything it is in percent. So it is not required. What you have to remember, is it the percentage? Not even that. Okay. So in question, what type of questions may come? So the questions might be asked like among the four elements, which is found in maximum in a human body, or just arrange the elements in the human body in their increasing order. As the percentage, you have to know that which is found in maximum, which is found in least amount. So that things we will be needed. Okay, so we have to see first of all among all this, as generally what we think that yes, it might be carbon, but actually carbon is not found in highest amount. What is this? This is the oxygen. Okay, oxygen is found in the maximum 65 percentage. Then the second one is carbon. Okay, second is carbon. Then the third one, that is nitrogen. Okay, then the fourth one is calcium. Okay, then fifth, sixth, this way hydrogen. So this way you have to remember, you can remember four of them. So what will be the percentage of elements in increasing order or increasing order? So first one you will get oxygen in highest percentage of 65%. Then we will have carbon. Then the third one we have nitrogen. Then the fourth one you have calcium. So this is about the percentage of elements. So only up to this you have to remember, not more than that. So about this video we have to about this chart you have to remember only this much, not more than that. So that's all about the video. I hope you understand. This is just the introduction. In the second video we will see a little bit more about the introduction, then after that we'll start on the biomolecules. So that's all about it. I hope you have understood what I have taught you. Thank you for today. Thank you.